The thing is, nobody's prepared to die. But what we've done is to go through the possibility of dying through what you're doing. And we've accepted that as a fact. And that's not normal.
Right now we're at exit 5, and exit 5, it has a few ledges. That means that the wall kind of goes out a little bit. They look a little big from here. It's a little intimidating just looking down at them. And you're like, well, am I going to be able to jump over that? But it's really no problem at all. It's very important to have the jacket inside the pants.
Why is that?
Because it doesn't create any drag, and if you have it outside, your jacket might actually wrap around the pilot, and then I have no pilot to pull and no canopy. We wouldn't want that to happen.
Base jumping kills people very quick. It's one of the few sports in the world where you make mistakes, you get killed. Like that.
Extremsport hat seinem Wesen nach mit Tod zu tun. Ich würde aber auf keinen Fall von der Todessehnsucht sprechen. Ich glaube, sie hängen sehr am Leben.
Some people make it into a religious thing, an extremely spiritual thing, and they almost go around preaching about it and tell people that if you're not that crazy, if you don't live life to the edge, then you don't live. And I've had so many people telling me this, that, oh, your life is so boring and you don't live until you try to die. And I think all this is a sack of bullshit. And it really provokes me. And but I respect the way Corrina do it. I respect her choice for doing it. And because she does it in a much more intellectual way. She's honest about it. She said, it drives me and I get a kick of it and I love the feeling. That's why I do it and I'm really good at it.
Und ein möglicher Erklärungsansatz für Risikosport besteht natürlich auch darin, anzunehmen, dass dieser Risikosport auch dazu da ist, das Umgehen mit Ängsten auch im Alltag einfach zu erlernen.
You know, once you can learn to control the fear of death and like big things like being crushed and injured, well, all of a sudden the little mundane fears everyone goes through every day of their life just seem so mundane and small, and I mean they're nothing to deal with.
I was born in Oslo, grew up, lived here all my life, maybe a couple of years here and there, but I always come back to Oslo because this is where I have my friends and this is where I have my family, most of all. I think I've always considered myself a city girl, but then again, I can only handle the city probably for 2-3 days at the time, or maybe even a week. probably have more than 300 travel nights a year. So maybe I spend altogether 2 months here in my apartment. Yes, it has its good side and it has its bad sides, with like every other thing. But you gotta be prepared to be alone a lot and to travel alone, and maybe when you wanna have your friends there the most, they're not gonna be there because you're at the other side of the world. For me, it's important to stay close to the friends that are not skiers and are not base jumpers, because I'd like to talk about something else than base jumping when I come back home. Talk about real stuff, talk about real things.
She's a really warm person, and she really takes care of the persons close to her, like her friends and especially her family. She is my closest friend, and I known her since I was 7. But we don't share our professional lives.
She's the one girl that probably knows the least about my base jumping or skiing. She doesn't have a clue about this industry, and that's good, you know.
I hate that she's doing the base jumping. I hate that she's away all the time, but she's doing what she wants to do. So I'm happy when she's here.
Tanya is one of my roommates that I used to live with, and she's always hated it. For her, it's just terrible. She's still decided, you know, she wants to continue being my friend. She doesn't want to run away just because I've decided to do this. You don't want to be different, you know, and when I come back here to Oslo, sometimes I'm thinking, you know, will I ever be able to come back to this kind of life? Will I ever be capable of just smoothly slipping into this kind of lifestyle? Or is my life never going to be like this?
People around me, my group of friends that are not that close to Karina, they always thought that Karina was so arrogant. But that's her facade. She looks so tough and she looks like she's always in control, but sometimes she's not. But she doesn't want to show it to people.
Her projection of what she is super positive, super friendly, super nice. But you know, she's got darkness in her. You know, we all do. There's not a person on this planet who doesn't have darkness. For a person to have the desire to put their life in that kind of risk for whatever reason it is, it takes a very special way of thinking. You know, it takes a very special kind of person to want to do that.
If this is something that I have to do, then I have to do this.
It's actually not really that hard. You know, as long as everything goes right, it's actually, you know, physically it's not a difficult thing to do. What's hard about base jumping is psychological. It's very horrifying, it's very scary, and for a lot of people it's very difficult to work through the sheer terror of what it is. There's one very simple thing. You jump off a cliff, you've got a pilot chute, you do something simple. You reach back, you grab that pilot chute and you throw it. And that's really weird because a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, that's no big deal. You know, I reach back and grab it. Well, I've watched 4 people die because they didn't do that.
Es geht bei Risikosport um nichts anderes als um Kontrolle. Um Kontrolle über die Situation, um Kontrolle der eigenen Fähigkeit, um Kontrolle der Angst.
They weren't listening to their fear. They weren't listening to what was going on. All they did was shut off. Well, that's not the way Karina's brain works. When the fear turns on, it makes her operate better.
This kind of fear, it helps you. You know, you're afraid of dying, you don't want to die. Right now we're in a small village called Lysebotn, and it's about a 2-hour drive from Stavanger. It's western part of Norway. When you reach the end of the fjord, you end up in Lysebotn. And we got the Chirag cliffs behind us, and that's kind of the final point of the Lysebotn fjord. I had about 100 base jumps, I think, when I came here the first time. It is amazing, even for a Norwegian. What makes it easy for us to base jump here is that the Stavanger Base Club has a bus. You take the bus, or drive it to the top of the mountain, we hike out and jump down, and they have a boat there ready to pick us up, and they drive us back with the boat. So it's like it's a little drop zone. You're never on your own here, but that's kind of a good thing about it too, you know. For me, I'm a social person. I like to watch other people jump. I like the community. I like the atmosphere. It's good, you know. It's a playground for us.
I don't know of any other organization or club that's run the way we are. Well, the base club makes sure that the mountain stays open. So we have a system that people come and register with us. They leave their personal information, who to contact if something goes wrong while they're here. And we also make sure that people don't jump when the conditions are questionable, and yeah, provide transport up and down.
Well, when we started to jump in Chirag in '94, I believe I was the first one who jumped there. We did like 4 jumps in '94, but in '95 it increased to like 400 jumps. These rumors was spreading like fire in dry grass. It was poof, and a lot of jumpers arrived to Chirag, and it's starting to get wild. So we had to somehow try to control this.
The requirements to jump here at Chirag is to have a minimum of 250 skydives. You only need a little bit of a track to clear it, but you do need to track.
Sure.
Now, if you look straight out from the wall, basically from where you exit, there's a dry riverbed.
Go!
Yeah! Woo!
A lot of scary jumping was going on, but today it's kind of, they know how to do the exit before they actually go on to the cliff and do the first real jump. By doing that, we managed to reduce the accidents a lot. I'm sure that if we had that from the beginning, we probably would save like at least 3 lives.
I would say Chirag is one of the safest places you can jump off. I mean, what makes this place so safe is that you got about 1,000-meter cliff, and the longer we are in free fall, the further away from the wall we get. We use our body to fly, and then when we open the parachute, we have a long distance from the wall. So if we have a 180, the canopy opens facing the wall, we have a lot of time to correct it. But you know, there is no such thing as a super safe cliff. was born with full-on birth control. I mean, my dad was busy playing. He's like me, so he didn't really see how a daughter would fit into this kind of life. But then, when I got a little older, he figured that he could bring the daughter. And then I guess he was happy with the situation. In 1980, my mom and dad had split up, but they decided to go on a summer vacation with me. I guess this vacation changed all our lives forever.
We were driving back home, and this car suddenly came across on the other side. The front on the right side was totally crashed, and that's where Karina's mother was sitting, and she got the whole thing. She was in coma for a month, and she never really recovered from that. So that happened when she was 4. So then her mother always stayed in homes, you know, nursing homes or whatever.
My mom had been in a coma for a long time, and when she finally woke up and she was in the hospital, she didn't recognize me. And for sure, when you're 4 years old, you don't understand how your mom cannot recognize you, because you do. She still doesn't have any memory. She doesn't have any short-time memory. So she has all these notes, post-it notes everywhere.
I don't remember 10 years before the accident. It's all gone.
Are you afraid that I'm gonna end up in the same situation as you?
Luckily, I haven't think about it. I think someone in the family is enough.
Yeah. I think so too.
Mm-hmm. She jumped. That's the only thing I know.
Do you like that?
I have to. I must. I don't like it. But I have done many things in my life that my mother didn't like.
Growing up with a mom that is brain injured it's different, because you are now the person to take care of your mom, and it's not your mom taking care of you anymore. She was great, you know, she did as good as she could, but I was always the one checking if the stove was off, checking if she was okay when she went to bed. I was always nervous because I didn't want to lose my mom. I had lost her already once, and I was afraid if she didn't function as a real mom, if somebody knew that what was going on, then they would take her away from me.
Her family history has been kind of tough for Karina, but she's always handled it delicately, if you can say it like that. No one else around her knew that she had a tough childhood. No one else knew, because she never asked for support from anyone, or she's not the kind of person that spills out all her sorrows and cries on people's shoulders. She's always managed on her own. She's that classic person who likes to help everyone else but doesn't want anyone to help her. And that's a nice ability, but it's sometimes hard to be a friend to someone who doesn't want to be helped. As a child, she was restless, always with a lot of energy in her body. And we played football together. Perrine was the big star and I was the big defender. She was a tough girl, always challenging the boys to do tougher things.
She's good at school, but she's not very interested. So her main interest was always being out playing soccer or maybe skiing.
Her father was really strict. I was really scared of him. He had very many rules, and it was not easy to avoid breaking them. And so she got into a lot of fights with him.
Because I had not been nice, he told me that you cannot go to the mountains with us. And I asked him, where am I going to celebrate Christmas? He said, I don't know, I don't care. And I was probably 15 at that time. So my mom gave me a Christmas present to go to the mountains. And I met my dad in the mountains. And then after the Christmas vacation was over, I came back home, of course, to my dad's place. And I wake up in the morning ready to go to school. And there's a yellow Post-it note on my bag. It says, "This is no longer your home, Bjorn." And I was like, okay, that's pretty clear words.
She's got a mind of her own, so she doesn't listen very well all the time.
And I didn't have contact with my dad for 3 or 4 years at all. I think all this turbulence that was with my dad when I was younger, it has actually helped us create an even stronger relationship today, because we are the same, but now we no longer have to fight about it. I loved skiing. Skiing was my life. And I spent every minute that I could skiing. I ran away from school skiing. I came back to the exams with goggle tan, and I dedicated every spare minute that I had to go skiing.
She was always hanging out with the boys because she was so good skiing. So the other girls, we weren't that good. So she needed to go skiing with the guys. So she really had a few girlfriends and a lot of guy friends.
Computer science for 3 years for computer programming, and I actually worked as a computer programmer, a database programmer, for about 4 months.
She was really happy when that autumn ended and she could go skiing again. She's an outdoor girl, definitely.
About 10 years ago when I actually saw base jumping for the first time, and immediately when I saw this, I was like, you know, that's my thing. That's what I want to do. Right, exactly that.
We were thinking about what we should give for her 25th birthday.
A lot of people get that as a present and they just do it, and then they just do something else, go back to work.
And she got this present for a tandem jump.
What I did was to trade the tandem into the course, into the skydiving course.
And I said, well, maybe you should wait a little bit, be a little bit, get a little bit more experience in parachuting before you start. But that did not sink in at all.
I met Jeb Corliss in South Africa. He's a professional base jumper, so he base jumps for a living. We started talking about base jumping, and I think he immediately realized that was a big dream.
Even though she hadn't done a base jump yet, like a physical jump off a building, her mind already works in that way.
I was ready. There was no doubt in my mind that I was ready to start base jumping.
I said, so, you know, give me your logbook, so you're gonna need your logbook to go to the drop zone so we can, go do some skydiving. And she kind of gets this funny look on her face. She's like, I'm like, you have your logbook, right? I mean, without that, we can't go skydiving. She's like, well, yeah, I've got my logbook. I'm like, okay, well, give it to me. So she hands it to me, and I open it up, and I'm like...
I think they're saying you should have 250 skydives to get into base jumping, which is definitely advisable, but I had 25.
And she just looks at me, and she's just like, here I am. And I'm like, all right, dude. I'm like, well, we're going to the drop zone and we're gonna go do some skydiving. And realistically, you know, I don't know how comfortable I feel about taking you base jumping right now.
So we went to the drop zone. I think we did like 4 skydives or 3 skydives, and he wanted to like see me in the air and see how I was dealing with the situation of free falling. And
it was incredible because she had no fear. I mean, she just, she was a better skydiver than I was.
And we did a couple of skydives and he's like, "You're fine, let's go."
And that's how it started. And I mean, I had, to this point, I've never met a person more motivated. I mean, she wanted to base jump.
Who's your dad? Okay, I'm looking forward. It's gonna be fun.
We're going to do her first base jump, you know, with a round parachute into the water. It's just to give a person a sensation of what it feels like to do a base jump. So, Karina, how do you feel?
Right now I feel great. I'm going down there.
Basically, a person's eyes really are kind of a window into what's happening inside their mind. And you can see inside a person's face and inside their eyes when horror is overpowering them and taking over their brain. And her, I was like looking into her eyes, like trying to see any kind of fear whatsoever, and there was nothing. She was just like, well, I'm ready.
And I remember like climbing over the steel and the rail, and yeah, of course, as I stood there, it felt uncomfortable. You're just about to jump off a 470 feet bridge, and it feels a little unnatural to just let go. But on the other hand, I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I'm ready for this.
She went off, freaking perfect, landed in the water, got up, she's ready to do another one. I'm like... She and I then spent the next year of our lives traveling around the world base jumping together. I tried to take her through the course and train her the best I possibly could.
Difference between the way she thinks of fear and the way I think about it. To me, it's terrifying, and I don't like the feeling. And but to her, it's she loves it. I think she loves the feeling of conquering the fear and mastering it and taking control of it.
Also andere schrecken vor Situationen zurück, vor denen sie Angst haben, denen sie nicht gewachsen fühlen. Beim Risikosucher oder beim Risikosportler ist es so, der sieht die Gefährdung, der sieht das mögliche Scheitern, aber im Bestreben ist es immer, seine Fähigkeiten so weit zu entwickeln, dass er in der Lage ist, auch die Situation zu meistern. Im Prinzip geht es darum, dass er sich von der Angst nicht beherrschen lassen möchte, sondern dass er selbst diese Angst beherrscht. Dass er Kontrolle sowohl über die Situation als auch über seine eigene Befindlichkeit, über sein eigenes, seine Fähigkeit damit umzugehen gewinnt.
If you're not scared of anything, that's because you're crazy. You are scared of something, you just don't like to talk about it. But the reality is people like us have learned to control fear and not allowing the fear to control us.
Angst ist aber in solchen Situationen gleichzeitig die Voraussetzung, um sich voll auf die Situation zu konzentrieren und voll auf sein eigenes Verhalten zu konzentrieren. Und Konzentration ist gleichbedeutend mit Meditation. Wenn wir in der Lage sind, uns auf etwas total zu konzentrieren, dann können wir tatsächlich in sowas wie meditative Zustände geraten. Und die können sehr beglückend sein, sehr intensiv. Sie sind aber natürlich nicht von Dauer.
When I first started teaching her, I remember telling her, you know, the rules of base jumping, like the facts, you know. If you get into base jumping, you're gonna get injured. You're gonna break bones. That's a fact. There's no way around it. It's gonna happen. You jump long enough, you will break bones. You're in the sport long enough, you're gonna watch people die. That's a reality. Deal with that right now or don't get into the sport. And those people, guess what? They're most likely gonna be your very good friends. That is a reality. If you can't deal with that, don't get into base jumping. And then third, it's kind of a pointless thing to talk about, but you're gonna die too. That's a reality. Do this long enough, it's gonna kill you.
Like the first 2 seconds, it's magic. It's everything around you, it's quiet, and it's just beautiful. You're just letting yourself go, and that feeling, I want to do that again and again and again.
Perrine,
When you start wingsuit flying, you start off the airplane. Right now, I've started it and I've gone through a couple of jumps, but there's only, like, I think there's 2 girls in the whole world that has taken the wingsuit off the cliff. There used to be 3, but this last girl, she didn't make it through. I know I can do this, and I will never do a jump that I am uncertain if I'm capable of doing. Now it's more about doing fun stuff in there, and I'm able to play more. For me now, I've jumped off the cliff. I feel like I've done it so many times, and I want to, you know, move further. I want to do different stuff. I'm not happy anymore with just jumping flat and stable off the cliff.
Wenn wir davon ausgehen, dass Menschen, die sich in so extremen Bereichen engagieren, dass die einfach ein sehr hohes persönliches Aktivationsniveau haben, dass sie wirklich relativ viel an hohen Erregungszustand brauchen, um sich wohlfühlen zu können, dann ist es klar, dass sie natürlich auch ständig die Anforderungen steigern müssen. Ja, also wer es mal 2, 3, 5, 10 Mal gemacht hat, bietet einfach nicht mehr den Erregungszustand wie beim ersten Mal. Und das dürfte einer der zentralen Gründe sein, weshalb sie dazu neigen, die Anforderungen und damit das Risiko auch weiterhin zu steigern.
You're no longer satisfied by the safe base jumps or that kind of base jumps. To achieve the same kind of feeling, the same kind of emotions about it, you have to push, you have to go further. Geraldine, Sebastian and I, we went to Mali to fulfill our dream of climbing up the hand of Fatima and flying the wingsuit off it. Looking back at it now, I know we made a lot of decisions that we could have done differently. The risk level on this jump is definitely much higher than any other jump that we've done back home in Europe. I felt the wind, and I gave in because I was scared. The first seconds of my flight, I knew I was gonna die. I was afraid of hitting the wall in free fall because the wind was taking me back in towards the wall. So I was fighting against it, trying to fly away from the wall, and I managed to turn the wingsuit and fly away. But at the time, I could not fly anymore. I had lost the momentum of flying, and I ended up deciding to open low. I was furious at myself for making a mistake like that. I was angry, frustrated, but in the same time, really happy that I could walk away from there. And that's how I look back at it today. Being able to walk away from a big mistake like that, it doesn't happen very often.
It's scary. I have too much time to think. I can totally analyze myself, and I can see that, my base jumping and skiing and the way that I've been spending my life, that's my runaway, that's my escape, because I don't live the real life right now. I'm living this dream world, and that's what I've been doing, and I'm terribly good at running away.
When you start base jumping, you've got 2 jars, okay? One jar is your luck jar, and one jar is your experience jar, okay? When you start, your luck jar is full, and your experience jar is empty. And every single jump you do, you take one little piece out of your luck jar and put it in your experience jar. Eventually, you run out of luck, and all you have to keep you alive is your experience.
No, I've always known that the Dolomites has a huge, beautiful cliff, reddish-looking mountains, and I've always wanted to go to the Dolomites. I went to Corvara to go ski basing with my friend Seb Collingro. I remember the last jump we did last year, he hit the cliff. He had a perfect front flip, and he got a 180, and he hit the cliff twice. And he wasn't injured, he was fine. He was bruised up, but luckily he wasn't injured. But, it scared him a lot, and I understand that because his flip was perfect, his body position was perfect, and still he had the 180 and hit the cliff. Oh, so flattered. It's just to make me jump off the cliff first, I think. He's trying to buy me. Before this jump, I think I had about 25 ski bases. I think what makes ski basing just so scary is that the exit is so crucial. It has to be perfect. Your body position has to be perfect. Otherwise, the wind is going to catch your skis and push you into an involuntarily backflip or front flip or something like that. And we are so close to the wall. If any malfunction happens, it's going to throw you into the wall right away. And having the heavy skis on your feet kind of increases every little movement you make wrong. It just makes it worse, But it is a scary cliff. It's intimidating. And of course, the hike out there, the traverse out there doesn't really make it better. We scratched around up there on the super steep talus and roped in and harnesses, and it's just an ice layer underneath the snow, so you really don't have a good snow patch to stand on either, so it's pretty sketchy up there, there's no doubt. And when you know also that you're going to jump off the cliff, it doesn't make it feel any safer. If something goes wrong, it really goes wrong. fucking sick place! Yeah! It's unbelievable. Oh, it's just shaking. So good.
Good one, Perrine.
It's my first front flip ski base ever. When you first get up there, it's super intimidating. It's so high, and the ledge is really steep when you're standing on top of it. And where's the end? I don't know. That's what I'm asking myself a couple of times too. You know, where's the end? Is the end when I hit the ground? That could be the end. Or is the end, am I gonna stop? I doubt it. I doubt that will be the end for me. Maybe I won't have this urge anymore. I don't know. I think for a lot of people, the end to this question is 10 feet under the earth. But I don't want to end up there. That's not the end to my question.
The average lifespan of a base jumper is about 6 years. That's the average lifespan. And in that 6 years, a person either gets scared and stops, gets injured and has to stop, or pretty much dies.
I think her father is, he's always been like this too. He has supported her choices. I think now maybe that he's growing older, maybe he thinks more about the risk and are more scared about losing his only daughter.
In the beginning, I think I was worried sick about it, and I phoned her every now and then to keep track of her and know how she was. And I said, there's one thing that I'm demanding of you, and that is when you jump, you give me a call afterwards.
Of course I worry. I worry a lot, but I don't want to tell her that much that I worry. I don't want to put that weight on her shoulders.
She doesn't like to talk about the dark aspects of what she does, but I know that she knows them. You know, there's no question she's injured herself. She knows that. She knows it can kill people. She's watched people die. Let's put it this way, with those statements I made, she's experienced 2 of them. She's been injured and she's watched people die. She hasn't been in base jumping that long. It happened very quick.
It's so harsh that you kind of have to distance yourself to it a little bit, but then you kind of get, you know, down days or days that you just like sit back and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? This is absurd. It's insane. And sometimes it is, you know, you feel like what you're doing is insane. You're watching your best buddies die and you question it. Is it worth it?
Das wird mir nicht passieren, heißt es schlicht und ergreifend. Gell? Den anderen passiert. Ich habe so und so viel sterben sehen und das klingt fast ein bisschen böse, das sozusagen. Ich glaube, jeder Einzelne, der stirbt, um den man dabei trauert, ist natürlich auch so etwas wie eine Bestätigung dessen, was man selbst tut. Denn wenn die nicht sterben würden, dann wäre das Ganze nicht so riskant, nicht so risikoreich. Dann könnte man sich nicht immer wieder beweisen, seine Einzigartigkeit, seine Großartigkeit, seine Fähigkeiten.
Of course, I love my daughter, and that's the reason why I would love to, like I've said to her, there's no way I'm gonna let you go before I go. I've seen that, and it's not allowed. And she's well, there's a lot of statistics against her, you know, and so that's not a good reading. And we would like to keep the family together a little bit longer.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, well, so.
We will never be happy about something that's safe. So a jump that maybe 100 jumps ago was considered to be a safe jump. We now managed to make this safe jump unsafe by flying further or closer to the wall. So we're no longer flying away from the wall. We're flying right next to it.
Is it a little lower?
It is a little lower. It's not much though.
No, I think it'll be fine.
Maybe the other one is 290 meters and this is 270 meters? What do you think? Here, we can do that.
Sure, right there.
Let's just, yeah, are we flying to the white thing? Like we don't really fly, we don't make the turn in towards 5 and then a new turn like this. Just fly straight.
Straight at that white.
Yeah, and then make the turn out.
Right.
So it increases danger, obviously, if you step off a cliff and then turn back towards it and fly along next to it. You're making things that are going very, very fast, and you're becoming very, very close to a structure that if you make contact with it at that speed will obviously kill you.
The thing is, flying like this compared to flying out of the wall, it gives you a way bigger kick.
It's just that fresh memory that you have, and
Yeah.
it tricks you, you know.
And my exit was nothing as bad as that. My exit probably would have worked. It's just that at 8, I just want to have a nice one.
We are 3 jumpers at exit 4. I hope that 10 years from now I will, you know, have a husband or a boyfriend and hopefully have a kid or 2 as well. For me, the only thing that could stop me right now is probably paraplegic, being paralyzed, not being able to jump off the cliff. It's probably what would stop me. And then on the second level, it would be, like I said before, having a family of my own, responsibility.
I think the risk of being killed is something she can accept, but I don't think she can accept the risk of being crippled. Because a life being crippled isn't the life for her. Because she's so addicted to having a functional body.
Fuck statistics. I can overlive the statistics. And I have, probably already. By my numbers of base jumps, I'm probably on the bad side of the statistics already. I need to do this, because if I don't do it, I'm not a happy person. I'm not a complete person. If I were to do this over again, I would probably have done the exact same thing. And everything would have worked out perfect. It wasn't my fault, and luckily I got nobody to blame for it. The last thought that I had was, I'm going in. Actually, I thought I fucked up. The paramedics was there immediately because this was an event, and that pretty much saved me because throughout the time, with the 1 hour it took me to get to the hospital, I had already lost 3 liters of blood. I had 21 fractures in my right thigh. My femur was shattered completely. My knee pretty much came out of my open fracture, but that was it. All my injuries were from here to here. And don't ask me how that is possible after an impact like that. Probably two weeks later, a doctor that I'd never seen before, he came by and he said, "We weren't sure that you were gonna make it out of that surgery with your two legs."
I came down to Lausanne a couple of days after the injury. From there on, there's been an endless story of operation and reoperations, and a lot of pain, of course.
I woke up from one of the surgeries, and a doctor came to me and he told me that, "Carina, we've done a lot of surgeries on you now, and you have a severe injury in your right leg, and you're probably not going to be able to walk again." At that moment, I realized that this is really an accident that's gonna affect me for the rest of my life.
I've been trying to coach her all the time to train and to eat and just to relax and be well. And then she says to me that, what am I gonna train for? And I said, you are gonna train getting better so you can stand another operation. That's your job at the moment. That's what you have to do. It's nothing much to look forward to, obviously, but that's the way it is.
My body does not want to go back to the hospital again. The surgery that we're going to do is that we're going to put back the 11 centimeters of bone that I'm missing in my femur. And then from then on, it's kind of up to me and up to my body to work with me and cooperate. I can't say that I won't base jump again because I'm not in a position where I can answer that question right now. But all I know is that right now I'm scared because I don't know if my number will be up again. Because I can do everything right and it still will go wrong. And you know, I love this life too much to die. It makes you wonder, you know, is it really that important to jump off a cliff and get 20 seconds of joy? And I know I've said yes every time somebody's asked me before. Maybe I'll say yes again. But right now all that matters to me is the people. The people that I have around me. Because I've seen how much they give and how much I hurt them. And I don't know if I want to be that selfish again.
Okay. Now, also important, the lateral view of this right femur to judge on the bone formation. It does not look so bad.
Okay. That's good.
It comes from above. This is very good here. This looks good.
Is it possible for me then to come back to sports? No.
You know, this bone will not be as stable as the left. And even the left might break. I'm sorry, but I don't want to
give me false expectations.
Yes, yes.
The feeling that I got yesterday and the feeling that I probably still have today, I know it's a very selfish feeling, and I know it's a very destructive feeling, and I know it's going to go away. I know, like, for sure, I'm so much more than skiing and base jumping, and there's so much more I can do. And maybe this was the time to figure out something else to do anyways. And maybe it happened a year or two earlier than I wanted to, but it's not the end of the world, you know. The thing is, if I look back at, you know, these past, whatever, 5 years or however long it's been with my base jumping, I don't regret any second. I look back at the pictures and it makes me happy, it makes me smile. Got up at 3:30 this morning and started hiking in the dark. A little tricky to see in the dark, but it's a good thing we've been here before. And now it feels worth it for sure. Luckily, your body has a capability of forgetting it. You can remember you had a lot of physical pain, but you don't remember how bad the pain actually was. Like when you're laying for 12 hours straight in agony, screaming because they can't take the pain away from you, you know. And now it's like it's almost gone.
I just don't know how to feel. I'm tired of driving, won't you take the wheel? If I close my eyes, tell me what you see. We could drive all night. 'Cause the sun's too bright. I guess you might